Most things in life are enjoyed with a friend. This is not any different when it comes to Dota. But once you've launched the game, queued into a match, and marked the Safelane, what is there to play? What can you two pick to ensure a strong and optimal laning performance which will help you dominate and win the game? Hey ProGuides family, my name is Nathan Ng, and today we'll be talking about strong Safelane synergies. We have learned that anything can work in Dota, but some things just do way better than the other alternatives. We will talk about 9 particularly strong carry plus hard support combos in new patch 7.27b that will help you easily dominate the early game and roll over your opponents in the mid and late game. But before we get started, let's go ahead and tackle the question of the day. What is your favorite Dota 2 sound effect? Personally, I love the sound of Hand of Midas. Starting off with the oldest and most classic lane partners in history of the game, Crystal Maiden and Juggernaut. The idea is simple, freeze the enemy and then spin to win. All it takes is just one careless offlaner and you with the vengeance. This dangerous combination can deal over 500 damage at level 1 alone and can easily scale upwards of 1000 at higher levels. Oh, and not to mention that both heroes deal AoE damage, potentially killing both foes with the same go. At the same time, Juggernaut's Blade Fury can act as a defensive spell that can also grant magic immunity, while Crystal Maiden's Frostbite will disarm and stop the enemy entirely, nearly always guaranteeing your escape. Even if you took some serious damage, you can simply use Healing Ward to get you two back to full health. But make sure to hide Healing Ward right behind the trees or keep it far back in the lane. It is a one-shot kill with a high cooldown and a high bounty. And last, Arcane Aura will make sure that neither of you guys will ever struggle too much with the mana. Lich and Monkey King fundamentally work the way the CM and Jug do. Hit the enemy hero 4 times and then go bonkers after that. Apply a slow and catch the opposing offlaner and help your carry get the kill. Main difference is that this time your primary damage is physical and combo works especially great against melee heroes, as they will always have to get close to the Monkey King to be able to get last hits. Once you decide to engage your enemy, apply Lich's Frost Shield onto Monkey King and Frost Blast them to apply the ultimate slow. Lich also works with monkeys so well because MK struggles with natural tankiness early on in the game with only 1 base armor and around 600 HP. The Frost Shield ensures that Monkey King will become significantly harder to kill. As Jingu Mastery gives lifesteal to MK, this combo, as the previous one, becomes a self-sustaining one, making this one a rather easy lane to execute. 7.27b has removed some of the damage on Jingu Mastery, but the +3 armor on the hero totally makes up for it. Add Phase Boots and Wraith Bands to the mix and suddenly you have a very tanky monkey. Here's a tip, buy an Orb of Venom on Monkey King to make sure that this execution gets even easier. Clink saw some severe buffs in 7.27b, which is also reflected in his almost 7% increased win rate since the patch was released. Improving his attack point significantly and boosting his Searing Arrows damage, Clinks can last hit even more reliably. One of his biggest weaknesses, which is last hitting under tower, was negated in the recent tower changes in 7.27. The re-addition of the evasion against range auto attack projectiles help him take more attacks from all the popular ranged supports or heroes like Nature's Prophet. Add Io to the mix and the already good Clinks becomes even better at everything that he does, adding movement speed, superior sustain, and attack speed. Now we have this beastly dual bot lane that will gain more and more power with each and every level gain. Every kill they might get will make the lane unplayable for the off lane. Io's 40 movement speed buff helps him not to just stand easier on his own and escape potential threats, but also makes it easier for him to pull and stack camps without having to invest too much of time while leaving Clinks alone on the map. Level 6 is a huge power spike as Clinks gained his old death pack back, and combining this with the ability to teleport globally and relocate, no place is safe for the enemy team. May it be for kill ganks or taking the tower easily with overcharge and Searing Arrows. Another all-time classic choice of heroes. This combo is a must against elusive laners such as Puck or Weaver. It's also really good against the current popular Queen of Pain support. What good will it do if they are just shackled for 5 seconds, which is by the way on a 10-second cooldown, and an angry bear hitting them and building on those stacks until they die? In this scenario, you want to instead max Overpower instead of Earth Shock to make sure that you deal the most damage possible when your opponent is disabled by Shaman. The new patch significantly increased Shadow Shaman's mana pool, which will help him better sustain his heavy ability usage. A huge bonus is the ability to take tower control with Shadow Shaman's Mass Serpent Wards, or even defend yours with them. Granted, this heavy physical damage dual lane lacks proper disables, but it makes up for it with clutch, survivability, and sheer DPS. Dazzle's Poison Touch is one of the best harassing spells in the laning phase, and Metamorphosis is one of the best ways to just fight your opponent head on. Any overcommitment by the enemy will be severely punished by our heroes. Cast Dazzle slow and damage over time on both of the enemy heroes, turn on Metamorphosis, and then just start hitting. If they decide to fight you, you can always heal yourself or your Terrorblade with Shadow Wave or even save them completely with Shallow Grave. Starting with level 6, Terrorblade will always get a guaranteed Sunder off while he is graved, being able to make clutch plays and then turn the tide of the skirmish. On top of that, Terrorblade's illusion makes great targets for Shadow Wave to bounce off of, which will only add damage to both heroes and creeps if they stand near you. This strat will allow you to take tower quite easily as well, which means extra gold, map control, and the opportunity for Terrorblade to farm the jungle. Although this execution can be a little bit tricky, it is definitely a high reward playstyle. Relatively, you'll often find Oracle and Troll Warlord in the opening picks in the draft. Rarely anything can stand well against this lane. There's almost nothing that this combo does not have. A slow, 2 roots, a blind, a purge, and dispel, magical nukes, physical damage, even a heal and full magical resistance spell on the Oracle. Troll Warlord, a hero who only loves to just man up, does only get further enabled by that on Oracle by his side. Although they are already strong at level 1, things will only get worse for the enemy offlaners the more that this Safelane gets to grow. Use Fate's Edict and then Purifying Flames on your carry to ensure maximum healing and sustain. Then purge off any spells and negative effects that might affect Troll Warlord or dispel positive buffs on the enemy, like Bloodlust for example. If you manage to keep off constant aggression and a steady supply of consumables, this lane is deemed to win and force anything out of the lane. The double range ability lineup. Stack with armor and stuns, Ventral Spare and Luna make an extremely strong couple. My favorite part about the two is how their auras work so well with each other. Together they provide damage, stats, and attack range. With just starting items in level 1, Benj and Luna are going to have about 55 and 70 damage respectively, turning them into heavy hitters. Also, as agility heroes, their armor gain is naturally higher than normal heroes, allowing them to trade even more efficiently. Adding on the fact that both heroes are equipped with both powerful stuns and fairly low cooldowns, and you get yourself a lane that can't be trifled with. Your opponents are always going to be thinking twice before going into the last hit or even jumping you. Wave of Terror and Moonglaze give the ability to not just deal more damage but also wave clears much easier, farm stacks, and even take out the tower early on. In the later stages of the laning phase, Nether Swap and Eclipse turn Venge and Luna into bigger killing threats which should never be underestimated. Okay, this is not the typical kill lane like the other entries on our list. Just bear with me for a minute though. This is a very defensive lane that will turn into an exploding combo later on, literally. Spectre is one of the weakest carry laners in the game and most weaknesses are made up with Warlock's skillset. Spectre's only real damage source is her dagger, which is amplified by Warlock's fatal bonds. Her only real takiness comes from Dispersion, which benefits greatly from Warlock's Shadow Word, which at higher levels will heal for an awful lot. Now the reason I included these two in the list here is because they pay out for what is to come afterwards. After the early game, it is time for Spectre to quite literally shine as she gets her Radiance and much more. Haunt together with Fatal Bonds and Chaotic Offering alone is enough to almost wipe out the entire enemy team. The devastating combo will throw off your enemies out of balance and then right into chaos. What are they going to do when they're fully exposed, all bonded together and completely slowed by upheaval, while 5 illusions and a golem are chasing and punching you? This is one of the strongest teamfight combos if you get through the laning phase safely, and that is why Warlock and Spectre are just right for each other. Especially with a friend and good coordination, this should be your lucky charm. The last 2 heroes on our list today are none other than Grimstroke and Slark. All it takes is just to get jumped once and then you're just done. Pretty weak individually, but combined is a strong force. Slark likes to hit people, and in fact I think he absolutely loves it. Essence Shift is the biggest laning phase weapon. Stealing stats not just to lower his opponent's HP even further, but also gaining a lot of agility to hit even harder and more often, thus stealing more stats. All he needs to do is to properly catch off his enemies, and someone needs to enable him, and that's when Grimstroke comes in. This painter is one of Slark's best allies. Inkswell allows Slark to catch heroes even simpler and apply up to 3.7 seconds of a long stun. Phantom's Embrace silences enemies and for most people almost impossible to take off, especially since Slark is right up their behind to ruin their lives. Shoken Fate not only deals magic damage but also slows target for an easier pounce, and all of Grimstroke's spells deal damage. This is the ultimate killing lane where you really do not have to be out of position as an offlaner. This duo will grant you a great advantage and then get a lot of kills with that simultaneously, permanently increasing Slark's agility and then helping him snowball even harder into the mid game. Those were 9 of the great dual lanes that you can play on the safe lane. Call a friend, share your newfound ideas, and then win those games. What were your favorite combos today? What are some that you would love to play? Tell us, as we cannot wait to know what you guys have great success with. And that is going to be it for today. Again, my name is Nathan Ng, and thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I hope you guys stay healthy and stay safe, and then have a wonderful day. Peace.